And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. We're back. This is Sleep Dog with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. We're back in action. I'm ready to be in the, we're not really in the studio, but I'm glad to be back on the pod with my guy, Sleep Dog.
Guys, we've had a mixture of technical difficulties, some scheduling issues, so apologies that I'm sure everybody was on the edge of their seat just waiting to hear what we would say next. I mean, we lost to NC State in football. We're going back to the Mayonnaise Bowl. We just lost last night, if you're listening 2 days ago, to UConn. So it's been a tumultuous couple weeks here that we've been gone, but we've been paying attention, so we're going to get into it. We're going to cover the UNC loss at UConn, look ahead to Kentucky here in, gosh, man, it seems like forever, 10 days from now. Got NBA play-in going on. Damn, that thing's almost finished. It turns out that wasn't nearly as exciting, I don't think, as we thought it was going to be, but I like it nonetheless. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the NFL, more holidays ahead of us. We're fostering a puppy, dude. I mean, life is just all over the place for Sleep Dog right now, but let's just get into it, man. 9 p.m. tip, all right? I'm in here snorting K-Cups trying to stay awake for this thing. Felt like Carolina played well, but felt like, UConn is a team that looks pretty formidable. So we came in ranked number 9. They came in, I think, 4 or 5. 87-76 at the Garden. We went down. What'd you think, Big Hawk? It was pretty I thought pretty solid showing, but everybody wants to know what you think.
Well, first of all, this was one of the best college basketball games I've seen all season. And when I watched the first half, I was telling some friends that this needs to be a rivalry. We should do this every single year. Two great historically great programs with a lot of accomplishments, meeting in the Garden. It seems it was a great game. I know Carolina fans were really into it. UConn brought their fans out. It was a great atmosphere. You could tell the energy through the TV was amazing. But I thought the Tar Heels fought hard, and I think they played smart basketball. I think they just ran up against a juggernaut. Listen, guys, UConn is very good. They are a contender, and they have a chance to win when it's all said and done. I think they have a chance to win the whole thing in March. But that's tough to do, and I'm not sure if the last team to repeat as champs would be Florida. If you remember that, Billy Donovan and all those guys, Joakim Noah and that crew. But UConn, they're a quality team. Before the game started, I was really looking forward to Armando and Donovan Clingan. Donovan Clingan kind of reminds me of Walker Kessler. He's got great length. He doesn't have Walker's athleticism, but you can tell that with his size, he may not put up crazy stats, but he changes the game. He changes the way people shoot the ball. He dominates the lane. But that matchup wasn't really what it was about. I think RJ had a great game, and then UConn's player Cam Spencer went off for 23. That was a little unexpected. But I thought we fought hard. I thought the difference in the game, to me, came down to the rebounding game. I think we got out-rebounded by 10 rebounds, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And UConn plays extremely hard, and they ran with us. And we fought for, I would say, all of the first half. I thought we played good, solid, smart basketball. Guys, didn't really find their rhythm, but they still, I felt like we were in it. And then late in the second, I don't know, maybe, the second part of the second half, I thought UConn kind of controlled the game. And I thought, I can see, UConn's going to win this one. But to me, it came down to rebounding and defense. I thought our offense was smart. I thought guys played well. RJ played well. Harrison Ingram, even though it took him a while to get going, he brought it. Listen, Armando, I don't think he had his best game, but he had a double-double, solid game. And I know that he's been a much better free throw shooter this year. He didn't shoot all that well from the free throw line. Thought he could have done better. But I was pretty happy with the fight. I would like to see us start to close some of these games out. I think we're fighting harder till the end this year, and definitely trying to run more and put up more points. But this was I think this is the least amount of points we put up all year in a game. So it wasn't a huge scoring output by us. But the one thing that UConn makes you do is they make you guard. They are going to run, move without the ball. They run a sophisticated offense. Dan Hurley, everyone knows that his offense, and to guard it, you have to be locked in for the whole shot clock possession, or they will take advantage of you. Now, keep in mind, UConn has only lost one game since March of last year. And that game was to Kansas at Kansas. With Kansas, at Kansas in Lawrence Fieldhouse, I think, is arguably the toughest place to play in college basketball. So that's very impressive. They're a quality team. I like the way we fought. Obviously, we can grow and learn from this game. I don't walk away from this game saying, we competed, and I think we could become a team at the end of the year that can beat UConn, and it can go either way. But we got to start closing out. And the big thing for me, if I'm looking for things to pick apart, is we've got to bring it better defensively. And we've seen it all year. You look at Cam Spencer dropping 23 on you. Then against Tennessee, even though we won that game, the Connect kid went off. And then the game before that in the Bahamas, you have the kid from Villanova drop, I think his name is Dickinson, dropping 30-something on us and having a career game.
Almost 40.
We've got to be in tune defensively. We've got to be connected, and we can't allow that to happen if we want to be the team that makes a deep tournament run come March. And, I don't know. We got a lot of different lineups. I think Hubert's doing good with that. I thought he called a timeout right before the end of the first half where we got a 3, and that put us in great position. I thought that was super smart. But overall, Sleep, I'm not discouraged after this. I think we can build off of it, learn from it, and it'll give us some momentum going into conference play.
Yeah, it was the first real big game, of the season, I think. And at the end of the day, like, sometimes you just go up against good teams and they beat you. And I think that's kind of like, what happened here. And I don't take anything away from UConn or Carolina. I thought like we both played a good game. I thought UConn was better. They had more, they were able to get, I think, consistently sort of more minutes out of their bench, right? This is one thing I did kind of notice was, we kind of leaned heavy. Tremble got 16 minutes, I see here, but we got 4 points off the bench. And you gotta, we didn't even, I'm trying to, on the fly here, 2, 4, 7, they took 7 shots and, not a lot elsewhere. And same kind of be said. It was just, 5-on-5 matchup for the most part, but UConn's bench was able to spell. They had 3 guys at least get 10 minutes. It didn't break the box score by any means, but they those guys seem to have some solid minutes. And as a team, we really didn't shoot the ball well overall. I guess from the free throw line too kind of hurt us. But at the end of the day, you feel like if we had shot better, right? We had 3 or 4 more points. And I still don't think that gets you close. We're within 4 or 5 at the half, and then 4 or 5 in the second half. And at the end of the day, it just seemed like we could never put them away. And UConn's a good team, and I think is a good test, is a good road test. It's one of those games where who was it that we beat last year? Was it Michigan or somebody that we beat early and we felt really good about it?
I thought it was Ohio State.
It might have been Ohio State. Yep. Somebody that like ultimately didn't wind up being very good.
No, it was Ohio State. Yeah, because at the time it was a quad 1 win.
Right.
And it was our only quad 1 win at that point. Yeah. And everyone was wanting Ohio State to win some games so we could still claim that as a quad 1, which, Sleep, just to say this, it's totally stupid to have a quad 1 win, and then later in the year, that quad 1 win may not be a quad 1 win. Injuries happen, teams change. A team's key player could get injured midseason, and you beat them at their peak when they're really good, and then now all of a sudden they lose some key players. and it doesn't count as a quad one win. That's my argument with the quad system. I think it's totally stupid, but that's a whole nother argument, Sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the NCAA and something stupid. Imagine that. And to the contrary, you could beat a team when they aren't good and then they get good. I mean, there's two sides to it, but I'm with you in general. Like, quad system is just dumb. Like, look at the eye test, right? And my point about the quad system and about, whoever we played last year, Ohio State, it definitely was, is that I mean, granted, we didn't win this game, but I also don't see UConn, floundering at any point in the season, this being a bad loss, right? So look, man, as a Carolina fan, you get, we've been playing great. We've been scoring a lot of points. We kind of feel a little vintage, right? Like, kind of playing our traditional style of basketball, and then you come out and lose one like this. I mean, this is one of those things in the past where you lose this kind of game, you're like, okay, reality's starting to set in, right? I just don't see that with this one. I feel like, we're going to find out here in about 10 days. We go to Kentucky. Kentucky's gotten off to a rocky start. I think they lost to UNC Wilmington the other day, which was their second loss of the season. So, I think, we'll get a chance to bounce back. It's a tough road game. I mean, I don't give a shit Kentucky's good or not. So, yeah, I think we're in a fine position here at 7-2. I think this loss won't hurt us that much in the rankings. Yeah, I don't see us falling outside, say, the top 15. And, we'll go into Kentucky, win another one, and kind of be right back where you were. And the losses that we have, we're both competitive against good teams and neutral sites and all that sort of stuff. So, look, man, you just got to – I said it, and I've been saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. There's a lot of teams losing games. Purdue lost. I saw the other day. I mean, I can't even keep up with it. Somebody lost yesterday. That lost to somebody.
Purdue lost to Northwestern.
Purdue lost to Northwestern, which I think is the second year in a row they lost to Northwestern. Yep. So I was looking at scores the other day. Last night, I think somebody got beat. It was an upset. Look, you're going to see – we're going to lose. I mean, if we're a great team this year, we're going to lose 5 or 6 games. Mm-hmm. So I'd much rather lose them to UConn than Northwestern or NC State. Or, exactly.
Northwestern's actually – they got this kid, Boo Booey, who's really good. And they smacked them last year, but I think they had the recipe for Purdue. If I'm looking across the college landscape right now and you ask me what are the best teams in college who I think could win, I would say Kansas is there. I would say UConn is right there. I would have to put Purdue in there after what they did in Maui. They're there. Yeah, they have the best player in college, Zach Edey. And then I go Arizona. Arizona, low-key, is the West Coast doesn't get the credit they deserve, like with some of their teams, because let's just be honest, majority of their games, we're all asleep. So we don't get to see or hear much about the West Coast teams, but you gotta pay attention to Arizona. They're playing very well. But it's I will say UConn is the Big East is arguably the best team or the best conference in basketball this year. And I would say UConn probably is going to win the Big East. They're a good team. So,
they said Arizona top 25 since number one for the first time since like a long time ago. I was surprised that it had been that long. It's the second straight year. Mm-hmm. Kessler was in the NBA last year. It's interesting to me. We kind of lost Kessler to Auburn. Auburn's top team. And you lose Caleb to Arizona, Arizona's top team. I don't know if Auburn was ever number one, but I know they were number 2. But
you gotta sleep. Your boy for the Rockets played at Auburn. What's his name? The big kid that could shoot.
Şengün?
Nope. It was he was like the second pick in the draft. I can't think of his
Thompson?
name.
No, hold on. What do you played at Auburn? Oh, Jabari Smith.
Whose game I really like. He played with Kessler, and they had a really good squad that year.
Yeah, those guys
they were super athletic. They were a fun team to watch.
I'm happy for Caleb.
Oh, yeah. Caleb's playing well. I mean, and I will say, like, Arizona has traditionally been a powerhouse in college basketball. Mm-hmm. So it just does kind of feel right to see them back in the mix. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy for Caleb. I hope he's, I haven't watched him play much besides the one time that they beat Duke and Cameron, I think everyone got a little joy about that. And
oh yeah,
we were happy to see that. But also, just looking across the college basketball landscape as well, you know what team is not being mentioned as a contender, who everyone thought before the year was going to be a contender, and that is the school right up the road, the Dukies.
Yeah,
Duke is having they're having a little bit of trouble right now. I mean, maybe Derek Lively was better than we thought, and
he's having a good little run right now in the league.
Oh yeah, he's playing well. Looks like Tyson Chandler out there. But I will say, like, they haven't been the team that everyone thought. And also Tyrese Proctor hasn't really made that jump that everyone's hyped him up to make. And I remember some people had him on the second team preseason All-American list. And I said, what indications does he give you that he's going to be a second team all? I was floored, not to mention that RJ wasn't on there. Jeremy Roach, who I consider their second best or probably their best guard at Duke, wasn't even mentioned. And I'm just like, why do no, listen, if Tyrese Proctor listens to this, he's going to hate me. But I just felt like what he's done so far and the hype that he's got really isn't I don't know. I didn't see it, but I think he came on late last year. He's got potential, but yeah,
it just goes back to the adage, man. Like, the top recruits, especially the ones that if you're just going to churn guys in and out, you're just not going to, I don't know, man. Like, maybe you catch lightning in a bottle a year or two, but there's just too many teams with too many players that are like missing a piece, and now they go get them in the portal. I just saw on ESPN where Rutgers has 2 of the top 3 recruits for next year. Like, I mean, look, anybody can recruit. It's like, can you build on-court chemistry? We talked about this with Carolina last year, and there was like all these things about people saying things are going on behind closed doors. And for all intents and purposes, it truthfully didn't look like there anything was. But on the court was a lot different, man. And sometimes teams just don't gel. And if you only got a short period, and especially now where like these kids are making money, they're jockeying probably never before, because there's continually more and more and more opportunity to be seen. There's the internal sort of like divides that can be drawn among these guys that, like, I mean, it boils down to you kind of got to be a star to get drafted high. And like, I mean, that trickles down into like an individual game, right? You start forcing shots and doing these things because it's a nationally televised big game, right? Like, I could see some of these kids pushing instead of like veering from, the scope of now Duke and even John Shire being there and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure they have, a very solid process, and all that sort of stuff. But you just can't take for granted that when you're bringing in a bunch of like top level recruits that have always been alphas, and they're now one step closer from the NBA. I would imagine that coaching those kids is not easy. And difference being, look at our team, right? You got guys that have been here for 4 or 5, 6, 8 seasons, it seems like, and and gelling together, and it's kind of like, kind of like it always has been, right? Like the older teams seem to make noise deep in the playoff run.
That's a great point, Sleep, because you look at the Final Four last year, San Diego State, their average age was like 24, 25 or something like that, which is just an older team. And we talked about it before the season started. It's almost like the older players, like the 24-year-olds that are still left in college, which is actually kind of laughable. Those guys are extremely valuable. They have athlete. Yeah. They have
minus the athlete part.
They have, more experience. They've been in the weight room. They've been playing against other college players for a long amount of time. That stuff has a lot of value. Now, you're seeing James Madison kind of break through. They're undefeated. They're top 25 team. They could be the FAU this year. I mean, FAU is another good team. They're playing extremely well.
That was the one I was trying to think of that just lost,
Lost to Illinois. By the way, Illinois is not like –
good team.
Yeah, they're an up-and-down team, but they have potential to be good. So,
well, anyway, I mean, it's kind of interesting too because the temperature, just general on Twitter and regular, UNC fans aren't like standing on the edge of a building right now, which is very uncommon after a loss. So, yeah, I think we all feel the same way about it, and we're certainly going to find out real quick in some ways, given that we go to Kentucky in 10 days. So we'll see. One thing we've seen time and time again, right, is Carolina football. We're getting ready for this thing. Hey, look, we already know that because we're so late to the game here, the whole NC State thing, coach calling our guys pieces of shit or something. I mean, God, come on, man. This is the most NC State thing ever of all time. Can't act like they've been there before because they ain't been there before. Doesn't look like we're ever going to get there, to be fair. Going back to the Mayo Bowl. So here's my question to you, Big Hog. And I asked this in our group chat. You might not have seen it. Like, you got to assume, if I'm Drake May, there's no way I'm playing, right? I get it. I feel like Drake's the kind of guy that probably would play. I can't remember. I think Sam Howell played last year. No way I'd play. I mean, and half these guys ain't going to play. There's 1,000 dudes in the portal already. So, I mean, look, dude, you're going to go to Charlotte to see Carolina football play West Virginia at Panther Stadium, and it'll be 1,100 people there. How much money would someone have to give you for you to actually go to that game? Literally to go to the Mayo Bowl. This is what I was thinking to myself.
Who are we playing again?
Playing West Virginia. Now, to be fair, I was thinking to myself, I was like, it's just like and dude, I love Carolina football. We both love Carolina. We love Carolina and all these things. This is not like, I mean, if you're a real Carolina fan, you get what we're saying here. I was asking myself, I was like, no, because, dude, first of all, it's December 27th, okay? So it's going to be cold, all right? I started thinking, like, what would it take for me to go to that game? Like, actually go watch the whole thing. And, I mean, there's a lot of diehard Carolina fans out here. Probably a lot of them listen to this podcast are like, dude, this is sacrilege as you're saying this. I don't know if it would take $10,000 for me to go to that game.
Okay. Calm down there, Sleep. Are you being dead serious? Hold on.
I'd say five, and I'd think about it.
So you're saying go to the game, you have to stay the whole game?
Whole game.
I wonder what the temperature is. So it's going to be cold.
Let's just assume it's going to be 40. I mean, it's going to be 5 o'clock. Let's say a 50. But, yeah, let's assume cold. Because cold is a big – I mean, it's 70 degrees. Like, that number goes way down. Right?
In Charlotte.
Beautiful day, in Charlotte, hydrated. But let's just assume it's going to be cold. Not even assume that it's going to rain. Rain is going to cost a bunch. I think at 10 grand, I'd go. But under that, I'd have to really, I'd have to really think about it. If somebody was like, dude, I'll give you $5,000 if you go to that game. Not sure I would do it.
Okay. So now that I understand that you have to
Not sure I wouldn't. But yeah, you got to watch the whole thing.
You got to watch the whole game. It's on the
7th.
27th. So that's 2 days after Christmas. That's still kind of in the holiday. Like, you don't want to leave the couch mode.
I mean, think about it, man. You're playing West Virginia Mayo Bowl. Nobody's going to be there.
The reaction that I gave to you was inappropriate because I start considering it at about 7,500, and it's ludicrous. I'm not going to the Mayo game, and also the whole dumping of the mayo afterwards. I do not like that. Like,
no way.
No,
you'd have to give me 15 to dump mayo on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I got to get to the shower after that. But yeah, I don't know, man. everybody's got a number. And God bless Carolina football, man. I'm a season ticket holder. Okay, so don't you guys come at me telling me I'm like some kind of asshole for. None of y'all want to go to this game. I hope we right the ship. We already got some guy.
Tickets are selling for?
Dude, if you buy a ticket to this game, something's wrong with you. Because, I mean, God knows I bet if you go to, what is it? Is it Duke's Mayo? If you go to Duke's Mayo, I bet you can just ask them for tickets. West Virginia? Seriously, man? Like, and it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, man, at the Panther Stadium. So it's just going to be empty. And this is the thing, guys. Like, it's not a hate on the team. It's like, dude, if the whole squad was going to play, that's a different story. But you got to figure that half of these guys are like, bro, I'm headed to the NFL. Like, sorry, Dukes. Ain't it?
How many NFL players do we have on our team?
It's a good question, but I got to figure half dozen. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, Drake May, you got Amarion, you got Tez, I guess. I mean, he's a draft pick, and Cedric Gray, like there's some guys on defense, believe it or not, that are good. So anyway, I mean, we always have a handful of guys in the NFL, but I started thinking to myself, I was like, bro, there's no way, So, but all right, we were in here trying to figure out what we're going to talk about, given the fact that the Duke's Mayo Bowl is not exactly made for CTV. And then we somehow forgot all about this debacle in the college football playoff. Okay. So there is like any number of right, wrong answers. So what you wind up with is Alabama beats Georgia and sends the whole thing in the last year of the 4 teams, which this is all kind of funny to me because what is it next year? Is it 8 or 12 teams next year? Doesn't even matter if it's 20.
I hope it's 8.
I mean, you got 68 fucking basketball teams and they can't. People are still pissed at the end of the thing, right? So it throws this thing into upheaval. And here is the Tar Heel silver lining. There was no way we were going to make it anyway. If Sleepdog had gotten his wish and we had gone undefeated, we weren't going to make it anyway. The only chance is if you beat, if Louisville had been undefeated also, maybe that changes things. But I don't think so. So you wind up, Georgia's not in it. I don't think you can tell me that Georgia's not one of the best 4 teams. They're not in it. Florida State goes undefeated, wins a Power 5 conference. They're not in it. You wind up with Alabama, who lost to Texas, and Texas, Washington, and Michigan. And Michigan cheated. Like, nobody's really talking about that. So I'm curious to think what you think. So how do you resolve this? So if Florida State gets in, do you leave out the SEC? Do you think they made the right decision? Do you say that because Alabama just beat Georgia, they've jumped Texas? Do you leave Washington out? Do you kick Michigan to the curb because they cheated? I'm curious. What do you think? I mean, what do you think of the 4 that they landed on? Do you have a problem with Florida State not getting in? I think that's the biggest problem.
Absolutely. And a big reason why they weren't in was because their quarterback got hurt and is out the rest of the season. And somebody on the committee had said that they're a different team now. That's BS. Florida State went undefeated. They had a higher strength of schedule than Alabama. They also smacked 2 SEC teams this year. They deserve to be in. They went totally undefeated. I thought, yeah, you know what? You went after Michigan. They clearly cheated. Didn't play by the rules, but they still get in. And also, I'm not sure Washington, had the strongest, strength of schedule either. But I will say this, Sleep. Georgia was left out. Georgia was a pretty good team as well.
So who do you leave out to get Florida State in?
Washington or Michigan.
I think that's my thing. Now, Michigan, in my opinion, beating the dog shit out of people. So you can cheat or not cheat, but they're clearly to me the best team.
Well, they better. I mean, you
they better be. They know what play's coming.
Doesn't sound right.
I'm with you on the Florida State thing. I think it's bullshit that, and of course you got NC State's damn athletics directors on the committee right in the middle of it. Sounds like it's just a spiteful move that his team sucks all the time, and so he just wants to hold it against Florida State. I mean, it's crazy to me that Florida State doesn't get in. Crazy to me because they have been. Here's the thing. The committee had them at number 4 already. So it's like you've already said they're the 4th best team. They win again, and somehow they're no longer in the top 4. Now, I get that Alabama beat Georgia, but Georgia's not there either. So Georgia clearly has fallen out of the top 4. And I'm with you. So the thing about Washington is Washington actually played Oregon. They played a good USC team, right? They had some decent wins, and then they've got a Heisman candidate at quarterback. So I don't know a shitload about Washington because, like you said, I mean, they play, buddy, they're the ones that are like, their game comes on at like 10:30 at night.
Yeah,
I mean, they are way over in it might as well be playing in Hawaii. So, you know, and then, I mean, the only one, and you can't leave out Texas because they beat Alabama. The thing about Alabama to me is, like, if you look at their record, like how many close, I mean, it's a miracle. I mean, a quite literal miracle that they didn't lose their second game against Auburn. One of the most fun football games I watched in a long time. They beat Georgia flat out, and I think Alabama got in on reputation and in the fact that they couldn't leave the SEC out of it, right? Just I think it's a money generator, and it boils down to, the ACC is going to lose a lot of money out of that. I think your only option is to leave out Michigan, and that would just throw things sideways. I mean, people would go nuts over that. Because you would have had to have basically at some point ruled that they did something wrong and made them like ineligible for the bowl game. You can't just like say, oh, well, like you're the least deserving because now we think the cheating that we've all known you did is beyond the pale. So it's just like a super unfortunate situation. I think at the end of the day, like, you got to leave out either Alabama or Texas because they're one-loss team. And I think especially if you look at Alabama's, I like Alabama. I'm one of those guys, like I've always liked watching Alabama because they're good all the time. So I'm glad they're there personally because I would much rather watch them, frankly, than Florida State. Me personally as a fan, but they don't deserve to be there more than Florida State does. So they got every right in the world to gripe. And dude, they got a government and shit threatening to sue them and everything. Like it's crazy. I mean, it's poetic justice. I think that the NCAA is going through this in the last year they got this going on. The same stuff's going to happen next year, but it does give me some level of peace to know that Carolina could have beat everybody in front of them and still wouldn't have made it. Even though they won 8-4.
Yeah, I don't know. And you got to mention, like, Florida State smacked LSU. I mean, I'm just looking up the score. It was 24-45.
Yeah,
it's
beat
not
the
like
shit out of everybody.
It's not like Florida State scheduled a bunch of cupcakes non-conference. They beat them. They also beat Florida, in-state rival. I mean, that's SEC team too. Yeah. So it's like they did their thing. I'm trying to find out what happened with like Alabama versus LSU. What's a big one?
So I think that was close. They had that Hail Mary at the end to beat Auburn. They were like third. They were like 4th and 40 or something, 4th and 30.
Yeah,
and a miracle to beat Auburn. They had a couple other, real close calls against real average teams, right? So, strength of schedule and all that sort of stuff just the eye test at some point. You got to kind of look at these guys and say, well, damn, like,
I'm with you, Sleep.
how am I going to let these guys in? Anyway, it sets up nice. And then, the best part was Michigan is at the viewing party. And I don't know if you saw that clip, but they're all like sitting there watching the selection show. And they announced that Michigan's got to play Alabama. And you just hear this audible like, oh, God. Like they were all just like busted up because they thought they were going to get Florida State. And they got out. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if Alabama's, 4-8. Like you don't want to play Alabama. Texas looks good. So, it'll be Texas, Washington, and then Alabama and Michigan. And, and a Tar Heels.
Who's going to be in the, who you picking?
That's a good question. I'm going to go. Alabama. We'll go Alabama, Texas rematch, and I'll take Bama.
We're going Washington, Texas. No. I'm going Washington, Michigan.
They play the first game.
I thought Michigan had Bama.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. No, they don't. You're right.
I was like, man, we just won. Yeah, I'm going Michigan, Washington. And then I'm going to take Washington.
Okay.
I like the underdog.
Maybe they haven't. Maybe their dude hadn't been on the sideline over there this year. I think so. I think either Alabama's going to win it all, or Michigan's going to beat them bad. The latter is probably true because I picked them and because that's just the way it goes. Like, I guess what was it, TCU that clamored to get in last year and just got the shit kicked out of them. And so this is just going to be perfect if Alabama gets crushed and everybody's going to be like, see, I told you, like you should have put Florida State in there. But I mean, let's face it, man, it's the college football playoff. It's still fun to watch no matter what. And it is a bummer. And if I ever sympathize with the NCAA or anything related to it, this will be the one and only time. There was no right answer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you were going to leave somebody out that, quite frankly, it feels like deserved to be there. So at the end of the
one
day,
thing I didn't like about it is NC State's athletic director, or whoever's on the board,
whatever his name is.
Yeah. Why would you talk smack about Florida State? They're in the ACC. Wouldn't you want that team in the playoffs to at least get a little bit of revenue from that?
That's money for our conference. Yeah.
Yeah. I, mean, I just felt like that was a bad look to say that publicly. I would actually want them in the playoffs. I mean, what if they would have won the damn thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't like about that.
He's a king of bad looks over there. So anyway, NBA real quick. Let's hit that before we get out of here. We got the play-in. There's been a lot of NBA stuff going on all over the place. The play-in, what is it? The tournament is Thursday and Friday. They're going to Vegas now. The Lakers are there. Imagine that.
Yeah, so the championship game is on December 9th, right?
Right. That is correct. So that is what, Saturday? Let me see if I can pull this up. Because you said this, I'm not sure on the pod, but I know you said it to me. If you guys have not been watching Tyrese Halliburton, you guys are missing out. Dude is going off. He might be the MVP. At this stage of the season, he might be the MVP. Let's see, play-in tournament. So, that's not what we want. The in-season tournament. NBA in-season tournament. Okay, here we go. All right, so you got Lakers Pelicans. That is tomorrow night. You got Bucks Pacers. Bucks been beating the hell out of people. They scored 146 points last night. Pacers.
This is a semis, right?
Yeah.
This will be in Vegas. This will be fun.
Yep. So the quarters, which was the knockout round, the Pelicans beat the Kings. Lakers beat the Suns. Lakers have a better record than the Suns, by the way. LeBron James just doesn't get old. Bucks beat the Knicks last night, and Pacers beat the Celtics. So the Pacers Bucks tomorrow at 5 Eastern, which is great. And then tomorrow. And then Lakers Pelicans somehow still at 9 Eastern. Like, how in the hell do you guys play so late after the other team? plays at 5. And then the championship is Saturday at 8:30. So, of course, you know what the NBA wants. NBA wants damn LeBron, Giannis in-season championship game. Could you imagine LeBron James won the first ever in-season tournament? I mean, dude, this guy, like, literally the only thing this guy doesn't have, and that would be it. But I think the NBA could also, you know, in a tournament like this, the NBA, its product would be well served to have the Pelicans and Pacers. They got two, you know, I mean, you got Zion, you got Halliburton, you got a lot of really good players. There's a lot of really good players on the Pelicans. Trey Murphy's back, I think.
Do you think Zion's really like?
He's a draw. He's a.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
a Ja Morant guy to me. Like he's all gas and no substance, man. Like I feel like, you know, Halliburton is infinitely. If you're a basketball guy, I mean, Halliburton's infinitely better. And what's most interesting about the Pelicans, I mean, Zion's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's just power player, right? But everybody else on that roster is really interesting. Like Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, even Brandon Ingram is kind of one of those guys you're thinking like, man, this guy's got to break out and be like an all-star at some point. He just hadn't quite gotten there. Brandon Ingram.
Dude, I thought he was an all-star. That dude's been killing.
He might have been once, but I don't think so yet. I mean, he's a good player. He just hasn't.
Like 20. He's almost. Yeah, dude. He's been beast.
He's a beast. So the Pelicans are really, really good. So that'll be a good one. LeBron and Lakers, Pelicans. That's 9:00 tomorrow night. Sleep Dog will be long gone. Have to catch the YouTube highlights on that one, but I'll catch the Bucks and Pacers. That sucker's dinner time, 5 p.m. So I don't know, man. You guys, anybody got, you know, 10 grand laying around? I might go to the game. So you got till the 27th to let me know how much you're willing to pay me to get me out there to Charlotte. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.